When we have an awareness of how our energy is flowing or what it feels like to be in alignment, then we can more quickly and effectively recover from difficult situations and up-level our lives, taking on new challenges and assimilating and recovering from those, right? We're not trying to avoid going out of alignment. We're trying to get good at returning to alignment. We're all alone, and we're all... Welcome to A Lone Traveler's Guide to the Divine, a podcast and vlog for empaths, healers, dreamers, seekers, and anyone on their healer's journey. My name is Amanda Lux. I'm the host and creator of the Elevation Hive school and community for energy medicine and dream work. I've been a practitioner of polarity therapy, which is a holistic form of body-based energy work, for almost 2 decades now. And I'm really passionate about sharing how one can maintain and cultivate energetic alignment, because that's really what I do and have been doing in my work all this time. As a polarity therapy practitioner and teacher, I definitely see the world through that lens, the lens of the 5 elements and the chakra system. And there's a whole philosophy and way of life that goes along with polarity therapy, which is why I love it so very much. It's so holistic and so potent. And I created my own elemental form of dream work, which I speak about in a different episode on this podcast. But I love working with dreams because it gives me insight into my energy and how my energy is balanced or flowing or not flowing. And I'm able to then translate what's going on in my dreams to what's going on in my energy, which is what affects everything else in your life. Basically, everything arises from your energy. It's like the foundation of the house. So if you're missing part of the foundation of your house is going to start to sink and crumble. It's literally like the most important thing is, how is your energy flowing? How is it balanced? And it's constantly shifting and accommodating your life. It's always in flux. So maintaining and cultivating a healthy energy system is something that we have to do constantly. It's not something you do once and you're done. It's like going to the gym. We have to constantly work out in order to build and maintain healthy bodily structures, right? Our physiology requires constant maintenance, and our energy does as well. It requires consciousness and attention, and it requires a listening and a noticing. Yes, you can have a healthy energy system without being aware of it. It is possible, but the more consciously involved we are in how our energy is flowing, the more we get to learn and grow and evolve. And to me, that is really the point. For myself personally, the point of being in a body, having like come here to this dense, crazy freaking planet and chosen to sign up and be in this body and go through all of these trials and experiences. The whole point of that is to grow, to learn, to become more empowered, more aware, more actualized, so that I can not only experience more of myself, but I can also give back more consciously, more effectively. This is really the point of being here. When we are listening to how our energy is flowing, we're able to feel better, feel more cohesive, function better mentally, emotionally, physically. So it's important. Like, how do you cultivate and maintain energetic alignment? I'm going to be doing a deep dive over the next 5 episodes of this podcast and vlog, exploring these topics. So today's episode is really the high-level overview, where I'm going to be explaining what these different aspects or elements are in relation to cultivating and maintaining energetic alignment. And I'm going to be talking about what that even means. What does it feel like when we're aligned? What does it feel like when we're not aligned? How do we know? How can we start to pay attention and contemplate this and work with our own energy in a conscious way? It's your birthright to be able to do this. It's not something that is only reserved for special gifted individuals. We are all intuitive. We are all energetic beings. And we all have the ability to tune in, to listen, to work with our own energy. And if we learn the tools that we need to maintain our energy, we can live a much more empowered, magical, conscious, interesting life. When our energy is flowing, it affects our relationships. It affects our physical health. It affects our perception, our mental capacity to process, how we see life and perceive life. It affects our mood and our emotions, and even the circumstances that happen to us. I can't tell you how many times I have had a client who experienced some kind of traumatic accident, whether that's a car accident or a fall or they broke their arm or anything, right? These things are not accidents. They're part of our school of life experience. They're part of our soul journey that we are here to work through. And they usually offer tremendous amounts of insight and opportunities to reorganize our energy and to see things in a new way and to heal more deeply. So sometimes we break so we can heal. So I'm recording this episode from my art studio, which is out in the forest, and it's super cold here right now. It snowed, and on the way here, I was driving down the long gravel driveway, and there was a tree down in the middle of the road, and so I actually got really excited because I knew that we were going to have to get the chainsaw and cut the tree that was blocking the road. I have only ever tried to use a chainsaw one other time, and it was really difficult for me. It was a really old chainsaw, and it was really hard to pull the thing and get it to start, and I wasn't able to do it. And so I was excited to have the opportunity to try this time and to actually use it. It was kind of just a funny thing to have happen on my way here to record this episode about energetic alignment and how we can utilize all these various tools to align our energy based on the elements in polarity therapy. When obstacles come into our path, such as a tree falling in the middle of the road and you can't pass, how we meet that obstacle is really the indicator of where we are in our energy and our alignment. When we're in alignment in our energy, we can meet our obstacles with excitement and ready to try new tools. Even if we have failed at utilizing those tools in the past, they're new opportunities, and we know that we've grown and changed. And so maybe that this time it'll be easier, right? I had that hope. And when I'm in alignment in my energy, I often feel more hope. And when I meet the obstacles that come in my life, whether they are literal trees fallen in the path or blocking the road, or metaphorically speaking, anything that's in the way of where we want to go and how we're trying to get there, we could perceive that as a bad thing that happened to us, or we could perceive that as an opportunity to learn how to use new tools. it was pretty fun to go down and get the chainsaw and learn how to start it, how to use it. I'd only ever tried it with one old antique, big, heavy thing. For me, it was almost impossible to get that chainsaw started. I didn't have the arm length even to get it going. And I was really sad and disappointed. This was years ago. And so here I am, and I'm like, oh my gosh, here's this new obstacle in my path, a new opportunity to figure out if this time I could use a chainsaw and I could actually cut that tree up and move it out of the way. And I found that this was a new chainsaw. It was much smaller and newer, and I was easily able to get it started. I mean, it took me a few tries, but I was able to get it started. It wasn't as heavy as the old one. And I did cut through the tree pretty quickly, pretty easily. I had a moment of doubt with the second cut where I thought, oh no, am I doing something wrong? It's not quite working. So I stopped the chainsaw, and I realized that the tree was just buckling a little bit over the chainsaw, and we needed to lift the tree up a little bit to get the chainsaw out. And once we did that, the tree just snapped on its own, and it turned out I had already gone almost all the way through. And again, that felt like such a great analogy for life. Sometimes when we're using new tools, we don't know. We have moments of doubt. Is this really working? Am I really doing it right? And sometimes we just need to adjust something. There are always going to be downed trees blocking the path at some point or another. If you live in the forest, trees will fall. And also metaphorically in life, there are going to be obstacles in the way of where we want to go. And we're going to need to learn how to use new tools. And if it doesn't work, try again. Get some resource, dig deeper, and you might find that you can change your energy. You can use these tools, even if it doesn't work the first time, or you might discover that you really did have it. Doubt was the only thing that was in the way. It was just doubt. If you think about it like life is a meal, and when we eat denser food, or when we eat food that doesn't agree with us, when life doesn't agree with us, when life gives us a meal that's hard to swallow, let's just put it that way, it can be harder to digest, right? And so in polarity therapy, we look at energy that way. We're always digesting the energy of life. And if we have a really efficient digestive system, and we're able to metabolize and process that food really effectively, then we get energy from that food. When we eat really alive food that's good for us, that's healthy for our body, that we can process, then of course it's going to be even easier and faster to get energy from that food, and then to release what we don't need. But sometimes life, it serves us up a meal that's hard to digest or process. And that happens to everybody. We all have trauma, big trauma, little trauma. But if we can learn how to process and digest even the challenging things more efficiently, if our system is working at maximum capacity, then we have a better chance of moving through that. So there's some choice there. What kind of experiences are we serving up to ourselves? What are we signing up for intentionally? And what are we doing out of habit that we're unconsciously choosing? Maybe things that are difficult to digest. Sometimes we do this with our life experiences as well. We choose challenging relationships. We choose challenging experiences, jobs, and maybe we don't think we have a choice. Maybe somebody gave us a Big Mac and we thought that was the only thing on the menu. And it became the easiest thing to get, even though it's the most challenging thing maybe to process and digest. But we're still eating that because we don't make that connection. We're not listening or honoring. And we do that in life as well. Sometimes we continue to maintain difficult or toxic relationships, even though everything in our being is saying, like, this is not working for me. We still do it. And it's not because we want to cause harm for ourselves. It's a habitual thing that we have learned. It's some kind of compensation pattern that we have learned to accommodate. And it's become the way we do it. So we don't realize that we have other choices all the time. And part of this whole series of episodes is about realizing that we do have choices. We do have the power to choose. And there are options that we haven't considered yet. And that we're going to be just putting more on the menu, more things to contemplate and to try out. If our energy is flowing and aligned, then when we do get served something difficult to assimilate, we can, number one, we can tell right away because we're not numb to the sensations of something being off. But also, we can process it more effectively. We can just on a day-to-day basis, receive the nutrients from our food more readily if our digestive system is working better. So maintaining and focusing on your energy, even in the subtlest way, just by having that thought and not knowing anything else from there, like I'm gonna pay attention to my energy, that alone will start a domino effect. We want to be able to digest life more easily, don't we? We want to be able to sit down and enjoy what life is serving us, whether that's something that we have intentionally put on our plate or life set down on the plate for us, because it works both ways. So our energy system has 5 main elements that relate to the 5 chakras that are of a physical vibration. And I'm going to be just sharing sort of a high-level overview here of what those 5 elements are and how we can approach energetic alignment through the lens of each one. And then in the next 5 episodes, I'm going to be going deeper into each of those individually. I'm going to be sharing my favorite ways of approaching energetic alignment through the lens of the 5 elements. So I'm going to starting with the ether element, which relates to the throat chakra, and has to do with self-expression and spaciousness, and it's the gateway to our upper energy centers that are a higher frequency than the 5 elemental ones. Our intuition and our wisdom, connection to source, our highest knowing. So the ether is really the opening to all of that. It's how we receive our inner guidance and inspiration to become manifest in any particular form. It's where we work with our dreams. It's where we work with sound healing. It's where we work with silence and meditation. These are all ways to cultivate and maintain energetic alignment through the ether. There are times when we want to work with our energy in a more etheric way. And it depends on what's going on for you in your life. But knowing that you can call on these specific tools to help you balance your ether element, that is an empowering thing right there. If you're feeling like you're constricted in your self-expression or your creativity, if you're feeling like you're not able to speak your truth or share your truth, if you're feeling like you're not being heard, or you're not able to hear others clearly, or hear your own intuition clearly, these are times when you might want to try balancing your energy through the lens of the ether. Singing or being in silence, tuning in, listening to your dreams, all of these are ways that you can work with the ether element to balance and cultivate and maintain energetic alignment. The air element relates to your heart chakra. And when we are talking about energy alignment in relation to the heart chakra, it's about how are we thinking and really observing our thought patterns. And we can work and help rebalance this with affirmations or journaling, with really actually taking the time to process mentally through what's going on and then to rewire our mental patterns. Being aware of how you speak and the limiting beliefs that are embedded in your language and your thoughts, your unconscious thoughts as well as your conscious thoughts. So all of that has to do with the air element. Creating practices such as gratitude practices and using affirmations and really paying attention to your words and your thoughts can be profoundly helpful when you need to align your energy more. The fire element is related to your solar plexus chakra. Embodiment practice is really a huge aspect of the fire element. And that's something I'm really, really passionate about, utilizing yoga, dance especially. The fire also relates to your eyes, your ability to focus your energy and your intention, and to take right action. The water element is your second chakra, and that relates to your deeper, more subconscious, kinesthetic knowing, and more creative, intuitive sense through the body. It's also more relational and more emotional. We can work with the water element to balance and align our energy in so many ways through food and movement and creative process and tuning into our emotions. These are all ways that can really support aligning our energy through the water. The earth element is the final landing place in the process of energy manifesting from spirit into matter. So it's the densest of the 5 elements, and it relates to our root chakra. When we are imbalanced in a way that's affecting our root chakra, we might have a hard time bringing things to completion. We might have a hard time letting go. It could affect our ability to plan and execute things in a stable, long-term, proactive way. Specific actions will nurture the earth, such as following through with a single activity to the very end in sort of a methodical, conscious way, and completing it, and then having a ritual of completion around that and letting it go, really, really, truly letting something go. That can be a really powerful practice when combined with conscious intention to help realign our energy, especially in the realm of the earth. Alignment is something that we are always going to have to be nurturing and building on. It's not something that you find and then you keep forever. It's something that you have to maintain over time. It involves being creative, being curious, being willing to try things in different ways. So how do we know that we are in alignment? And how do we know when our energy is not aligned? And what does that look like? What does that feel like? I want to just invite you to contemplate this for a moment, to maybe close your eyes and think about a time in your life when you, in your imagination, felt aligned in your energy. This could be a time in your life when you were able to make decisions clearly, that even if they were scary, you knew and you believed and you could hear and feel that they were the right decisions to make. Maybe you felt more powerful. more capable, clear, healthy, emotionally stable. Maybe you were able to listen and honor your own intuition and your own inner wisdom. Even if this was for a fleeting moment, I guarantee that you've had a moment of experiencing some aspect of this. And when you were feeling really clear, really capable, listening, tuning in, and able to make those brave decisions from a place of empowerment, those are the times when your energy was most aligned. When your soul and your energy and your physical body and your highest wisdom and your guidance is all synced up and in the flow. When you know who you are and why you are on the planet. Being human means that we're constantly coming in and out of this alignment because we're always trying to balance what life is serving us, and balancing and growing and being on our edge means falling sometimes. It means having difficult experiences. How are we able to recover from those? How quickly? How capably? At some point when you were more agile than others and able to recover really well, that was a sign of energetic alignment. I'm sure that we can all remember times when we don't feel so aligned, when our energy is struggling, when we're having physical issues, when we're having emotional issues, when we're having a really hard time making decisions or following through with things that we know we need to do for ourselves, when we're unable to see what we need to do or how to get through something, when we're having a hard time hearing or acting on our intuition. These are times when our energy is off a little bit, when we're not as aligned as we could be. But if we have the tools to work with what life is serving us, then we get back into alignment pretty easily. The more we are practiced at being balanced, the better we can recover. The more effectively our digestive system is working, the more quickly and efficiently we can process that meal and assimilate the nutrients from it, right? Same with our energy. When we have an awareness of how our energy is flowing or what it feels like to be in alignment, then we can more quickly and effectively recover from difficult situations and up-level our lives, taking on new challenges and assimilating and recovering from those. We're not trying to avoid going out of alignment. We're trying to get good at returning to alignment. Thank you so much for listening and or watching this episode of A Lone Traveler's Guide to the Divine. I would love it if you would leave a comment about anything that came up for you. How do you keep your energy aligned? Or maybe out of listening to this, what element do you think you could use more support in? Know that those are the next episodes coming out, so just keep an eye out for those. I'm going to be going into greater detail about how I align my energy using these different elemental perspectives. And with each episode, I'll be sharing art, I'll be sharing poetry, inspiration, and my passion for living a more balanced and aligned life through energy medicine and dream work. I'm super, super grateful for you watching and listening and liking, following, subscribing. I really hope that this episode inspires you to listen to your own energy, try on some new tools, or retry some old tools. Thank you so much for listening and watching. It's such an honor to be in sacred community with you.